Okay, if you do have any problems with the audio, uh, you can try and go to the live stream. I'll paste it in chat. But yeah, okay. Um, we'll get started soon. Okay, today we're going to be learning about Boolean algebra. Share my screen real quick. Boolean algebra. Boolean algebra is just like the algebra for yes and no's. Because like Booleans can only hold two values, right? True or false. So Boolean algebra is just like yes or no's. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so let's start with operators. Time to start and learn about this. Okay, here's an introduction. An operator returns true only, like the AND operator returns true only if two Boolean conditions are true. For example, on the first line, it says true and false, right? So this will return false because this operator requires both of them to be true. So if it said false and true, it would still return false. If it said true and true, then it will return true. That is the operator. So let me to recap. True and false returns false. False and true returns false. False and false returns false. And true returns true. So basically, if you have an AND operator, you want both sides of the operator to be true for it to return true. Okay. The second one is the OR operator. The OR operator returns true only if one Boolean condition is true. So we can see this in line number 2. It says true or true. True or true will return true. If it said true or false, that will return true. Basically, it just needs like one of these to be true to return true, else it's going to return false. It's kind of like the opposite of the AND operator. Okay, the third one is the NOT. The NOT operator takes the Boolean value and sets it to the opposite. So it over in line 3, it says not true, and that will return false. If it was not false, then that would return true. And you can also have like the operators inside of each other. So like inside the not, you can have the true and false. So true and false returns false, and the opposite of false is true. So this line 4 would return true. Okay, that's like the introduction. Why do we use operators? They help us organize code and are very useful when you pair it with if statements and while loops. We're going to learn about while loops next time, like loops in general. But for now, we're going to use them in ifs. So like over here in this case, in this example, Boolean 1 is set to true and Boolean 2 is set to false. If Boolean 1, which is true, and not Boolean 2, which is false, it's going to print both are true. So since Boolean 2 is false, the not operator will turn this statement into true, and then Boolean 1 is true, so true and true, and then it will run the if statement, like run the body of the if statement, which is line 4. So you'll get both are true printed in the console. Okay, here are more examples. If true and false, print this won't run because well, it won't run because true and false returns false, so you never go in the if statement. Line 4, if true or false, this will execute because true in the operator or false will return true because you have at least one true. So you will print this will run. Line 6 is not true and false. True and false will return false, and the not will make that true. So line number 6 will run and line number 7 will run. Okay, let's go to CodeHS and I'll show you some live examples. And you guys can like follow along with me. So if you go in CodeHS and go under sandbox and make a new program, I'm going to name it Python day 7. We're using Python 3 and new program. And we'll just like wait for it to load. Okay. Again, we don't really need this right now, so you can just like drag that over, make this bigger if you would like. Okay. So Boolean 1 is equal to, by the bool is short for Boolean. Also, yeah, if you're like casting, um, you could do this. I think if you do that, it will make it true. Like if you want to cast it here, but that's later. Okay, so Boolean 1 is true. Boolean 2 is false. So if we do if Boolean 1 and Boolean 2 print hello world. And if we run that, nothing happens. We don't see hello world over here. That's because Boolean 1 is true and Boolean 2 is false, and this operator will return false, and then this won't print. If you make Boolean 2 true, then it will run and it will say hello world. If Boolean 1 is false, it won't print anything. And if Boolean 2 is also false, then again, it won't print anything. Okay, the next operator is Boolean 1 or Boolean 2, the OR operator. Print or word. I'm going to say mm, like that. So none of them will print because false or false, that returns false. If you make one of them true, the OR works will get printed because true or false will return true. If both of them are true, then both of them will be printed. And if the first one is false and the second one is true, then the OR will get printed. Okay, and our third and last operator is not. So you can say not be. So Boolean 1 is false right now. I'll actually make Boolean 2 false too. Okay, Boolean 1 is false. So not false will return true and it should print the not works. And that's what happens. If you make this Boolean 2,
Can you have more than two Boolean values? Like Boolean 3, if you have like Boolean 1 and Boolean 2 and Boolean 3. So that works.
yeah, that
Yeah.
still works. Like if you have a bunch of Booleans, right? Like 3, 4, 5, 6. And
Can
then
you do more than, yeah?
say you wanted to do like an AND operation. If you do AND for all of these Booleans, it's going to check if all of them are true. So like
You
3,
can do that. You can do more than two, right?
yeah, you could do more than 2. You
For
can do that.
all three. Like you can do more than two for or two.
Hmm?
You can do more than two for or two, right? For the
Or
or.
yeah, you could do more than 2 for all of the operators.
Okay. Thanks.
But like sometimes you want to use like parentheses around them to like group them better because you could do it with and or. Like you could do something like this and then put this in parentheses. So it's like math and it's going to do the one in the parentheses first. So like 3 and 4 is false right now and 1 and 2 is false, so this won't work. If we make this true and this true, then it should run and works. And works, yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Ian. What's your question?
Well, if you do the not question, would the would it only print the not works, or would it also print the or works too, or will it print two things or just one?
If Boolean 2 or Boolean, oh, my bad. If Boolean 1 or Boolean 2 returns true and Boolean 2 is false, then both of them will work. So in this case, the not does not work. You don't see it here, right? Because Boolean 2 is true right now, and on line 9, not true will be false, so this doesn't run. Line 10 doesn't run. If this was
Oh,
false, then the not will run. Like that. Both of them run because this is still true, and then this becomes true.
okay, got it.
Okay. Okay, yeah, like you can also have like multiple, like I showed on line 5. You can have Boolean 1 and Boolean 2, or then you can use the parentheses. And these don't have to be, you don't have to use Booleans, by the way. Like if you were here last week, you remember this, like 5 is greater than 0. 5 is greater than 0 will return true. So the AND works, or like it prints that. And now you can also use AND 6 is greater than 0. And that should work. If you do or and like something like this will be
So
true.
5 is greater than 0 returns a Boolean value.
Yeah. 5 is
Okay.
greater than 0 returns a Boolean value. So that will be true.
Okay.
Yeah. These return Boolean values, like greater than equal to, greater than and equal to will also return Boolean values. And you can also do like something like this. Boolean 1 is equal to true, and Boolean 2 is equal to not Boolean 1. So then Boolean 2 will be false because you said Boolean 2 is not Boolean 1. If this is false, then it will print true.
So Boolean 2, well, don't we have to cast it into a string?
You don't have to cast it into a string because the not returns a Boolean. If the not returned a different data type, then you would need to
Wait,
cast
so the
it.
not Boolean 1 returns a Boolean, right?
Yeah, the not Boolean one
You can
returns
print
also.
Boolean, so you can print. So you don't have to cast that into a string to print.
Oh yeah. When you're printing a Boolean, you don't have to cast it into a string. You can just
Okay.
do print Boolean too, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, does anyone have any more questions? Okay. I think that should be all. Yeah. Okay. So to review, we'll play a Gimkit. Let's do like do you want to try human versus zombies? Yeah, let's try human versus zombies. Like we have more people today, so I'll give you guys like 10 starting cash. Okay. Join up. I'll also send the link in chat. The code is that 36373667. Okay, no, stop. Okay, I think we're missing 2 people. Okay, I'll start the game. You guys can join. You guys can join. Oh wow, really uneven teams, but it's fine. Okay, let's start the game. Purchase team upgrades. Upgrade your team's log. Sabotage the other team. Okay, let's see. Okay, same right now. Mm, Also, the code's over here, and you can also use the link in the chat if you like couldn't join it. Seems pretty equal. Oh, never mind. Zombies are winning. Whoa, sabotage. Okay, it seems like the zombies are winning by a lot. 15. Unless the humans heal. Maybe last second. Oh, okay. Drum roll. Yay, the zombies won. Good job, Vion and Parth. Okay. Again, you can like practice whenever you want. The link is in Steam. I'll also like paste in the chat just in case. Like if you want to practice that with your own game mode. Or yeah, I don't think you can pick the game mode, but you can practice. Okay, so your homework for this week is you go in Python on CodeHS. Your homework for this week is under conditionals, and it's 5.1 module 5.1 booleans. Do like the exercises and the check for understanding, debugging, and exercise. You can use the video and examples to like clear any doubts if you have any questions. You can also ask me on Discord or on WhatsApp, whichever is comfortable. But I think that's it. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.